Hi, and welcome to the first of our series of podcasts for Tech Week for Innovate Fingal. My name is Seán Fahey, my business is Fahey Media, and our first guest is a really interesting one. Whelan is the COO of TalentHunter. They are an AI-powered jobs board that is set to shake up the market and challenge some of the biggest players in the industry. We have had a really interesting discussion covering everything from AI, tech, funding, local business. It was a really good conversation. We had a very good time, and I hope that you're going to enjoy it. Welcome, Liam. For listeners who haven't come across TalentHunter yet, can you give us the elevator pitch?
What is it? Who is it for? Is what are we? We are the alternative to Indeed and long used large job boards. We launched in November with the intention of, 3 or 4 year scale, and we've managed to do it in less than a year. I mean, there's thousands of candidates, a couple of hundred employers are using us, and they're seeing the difference. There was obviously an appetite out there. We did a bit of marketing beforehand, but the market research could never have imagined the appetite for a change against big job boards, Yeah.
So your background is hospitality and recruitment. How do you get from hospitality and recruitment to an AI-driven jobs board?
Okay. Yeah. So if you look at it from a numbers perspective, there's a 95% worldwide turnover in hospitality. So you become a natural recruiter without even realizing you're doing it. Hotels, bars, it's a thing. You might have a place in Cancun that has seasonal work, which meaning that you're pipping that out again in December and January and February. In Ireland, it's December to February generally when hospitality hits a pretty bang. For the most part, you're a recruiter without knowing it. And so then I left that with the intention of a 9-to-5 family job.
Yeah.
Because hospitality takes I did it for 20 years.
Yeah.
It was time to sit back and do something else. Went into recruitment, and I ended up with a recruitment company, and I believe it was the best experience for me going into this particular recruitment company. I won't mention their names, but they were so bad at what they did in their day-to-day workflow that I could only make things better.
Yeah.
The simple stuff of a roster a week beforehand.
Yeah.
And it's particularly important when you have 1,000 staff members who are all temporary staff and you need them for an event in a week's time. They need to have their rosters a week beforehand, so they're not booking out with other... Anyway, long story short, I seen firsthand what Indeed and Jobs Ireland and Public Jobs and all these different boards had one thing in common. They were an agitator. They were able to take, because they had a database of thousands and thousands of candidates.
Yeah.
But you could be searching and you mightn't get the right person for 6 months. Well, okay, let's see if we can make this better. And started off as a job board, a very basic job board. Then we used AI to scale that in a sense that we could match people.
Yeah.
And because we can, we're still early.
Yeah.
Bigger companies can't do that right now,
Yeah.
We're still pretty small enough to be able to sew AI into our business. Yeah.
Well, you're at the right time for it, and it's obviously an exciting time for AI. Like, you have spoken before, forgive me for the research that I've done on you, about doing your Lean Six Sigma training.
Yeah.
So what did that kind of reveal to you about recruitment, or how did that kind of provoke you in the direction that you are now?
Okay. So this would have been something, I suppose, most hospitality managers or floor managers would have the ability to do anyway.
Yeah.
The Lean Six just clarified that that's what I was capable of doing.
Yeah.
And I've been able to move it. With the Lean Six, I was able to manage a team of developers completely out of my remit and understand, okay, these guys are happy to work 12, 13, 14 hours a day because they want to do X. And then we've got to bring in someone who understands the tech. Now we've got to learn how to use the tech. Yeah. And Lean Six Sigma allows that to happen. It allows you to, let me put this in the right terms, cluster it, put it in a box, put it away, move on to the next thing, you know.
So tell me about your founding team, your partner, Frank Byrne.
Yeah.
How did you come together? How does that relationship work?
So our founding team has actually changed quite a bit, like most startups. We had a fantastic team, and we also had, I suppose, we had great ambitions of ourselves when we started off. And we brought in some friends and family who turned out they were way ahead where we should have been. You know, we weren't quite there. I've known Frank for 25 years, through multiple different things. We worked together 25 years ago. Frank owns a pretty decent sized security company. He's very low key, and he doesn't promote it because he doesn't need to promote it. When I approached Frank first originally, it was to ask him to review the system because he had such a huge turnover and get it from a different perspective, not just a hospitality perspective, but get someone else in a different industry to understand what that feels like. And he fell in love with the idea, and he like myself, threw a few quid towards it, and next thing we knew, he's a co-founder and he's in it. And you know, we don't always see each other week to week, but you guaranteed 17 calls a day. You know, it's brilliant.
So let's talk about TalentHunter and the product.
Yeah.
So you have spoken before about 3 problems in recruiting: talent, the skills gap, volume, bias, and the skills gap.
Yeah.
So how does TalentHunter differentiate itself from the Indeeds, the Irish jobs out there, and how does it help to plug those gaps?
Gotcha. So if you look at it on, how does it differ? And I was asked this question right on another show, but the best way to explain it is, I love chocolate. I'm a chocolate fiend, but I prefer Snickers over Mars bar.
Yeah.
They both effectively have the same thing. They both do the same thing. They both give me the same endorphins. I like the taste of both of them. I prefer Snickers because it's got this extra piece in it, this extra crunch, this extra bit. And when we talk about skills gap, if you look at the likes of the bigger job boards who read the title of a CV, literally it's an ATS and it reads the title. So, and again, another best way to explain it is, if I'm a waiter and I'm going for a job and I see the server, I automatically think they're two the same thing. Yeah. They're the same thing. What would be different? And I apply, and I don't know this, but I've automatically been rejected.
Yeah.
Where our system doesn't allow that. Our system takes the skill base, uses AI to analyze that, and pushes that towards your employer, and also your employer towards the candidate, because they're both matching. This makes sense. This is the piece in it. And so when you ask, the bias is in there already with the screen reading. You know, it doesn't take the CV analysis. Sorry, you had two others. Remind me. Sorry.
It was volume, bias, and the skills gap.
So volume is, again, it's wonderful when I go through Indeed and I put a job up and I get 1 million CVs back. Yeah. That's volume is great, but that also brings a bias with it. Yeah. You know, you're trying to read through all them. You're not going to read through 1 million CVs. So any recruiter out there who says they're reading 1,000 CVs that come into their inbox because they're ethical, they're lying. Be sure of it.
I've been on I've been on the recruitment side of the table. Like, you know, obviously not in recruitment, but you know, in a managerial position, taking the CVs. Yeah. And I'd always encourage anybody who complains about the difficulty of, you know, finding a job, and obviously finding a job is tough and everything. But to try to have some sympathy and some thought, to put yourself on the other side of the table, or to not self-pity in the, why haven't I been chosen? Like, to think about if you're
looking under that mountain of CVs.
Yeah, like, how do you stand out? Yeah. And like, I appreciate, like, we, I'm taking myself mildly off script here, but we, again, maybe without naming names, we put one of our clients' jobs up on your site. So I had a first-hand experience of using the site, and I could kind of see how you through the kind of the pre-screening questions and like the way even the recruiter needs to kind of fill out certain fields and make things clear, that it very much seems to be leaning towards, I think, something else you've spoken about that I wanted to ask you about as well, which is, I think you've spoken before about fewer, better leads.
Yeah.
And so that sounds great. It sounds great to me as a recruiter. It sounds great to you potentially as somebody going for a job, to know that like if I'm going to be put forward for the jobs that I'm really suited towards. But have you faced difficulty in communicating that as a plus to stakeholders, to recruiters?
Every day. We meet. Okay, I met a new client a couple of weeks back, and they called me into their office and said, "Liam, we're getting no leads. What the hell? You're not getting leads because it's how you've positioned the job." I mean, we ran you spoke with this before. It's the EU AI Pact. It's sewn into the system. So if you don't put up a salary, or you have it as this, or you know, there's a little bit of bias in there, system won't allow it. Yeah. Simple as, and this is not to stop your job moving forward, because all you have to do is follow the rules. And as you said, you go through the system. It's a very simple process. It's not hard. But how do you show quality over quantity? Yeah. That's what this system is about. The system doesn't allow everybody in the world to apply for a weighted position in Dublin where you need a certain visa, you need a certain skill set, you don't have a critical skill that's fruitful for this job, you can't do it. What you want to see as an employer is that your radius is met. Can we figure out the culture of your system or your company? No. You still need to be there to do that piece. Yeah. This is not a pay done employee job. Yeah. That's not going to happen. You still need to have the culture base. So yes, you will get quality. You'll get 10 quality candidates. You won't get 1 million CVs that are completely irrelevant. And that's where I suppose may kick me in the head a couple of years' time, but we don't do tiers. We don't do, we'll push you towards this or we'll push you towards that. No, it's a matching system. Yeah. Yeah. And that's the quality over quantity always.
So maybe without giving away the secret sauce of it all, like, can you give any indication of like how does the matching system work?
The matching, okay, without giving away the secret sauce, there's no secret sauce to this, Seán, really. The system takes this element and matches this element. Yeah. You have what they want. You have what they want. Now it's just a case of matching them together. The system analyzes, and it's the algorithm is simple. We just don't push the algorithm out behind paywalls and behind firewalls. It's available for everybody to use. Yeah. And everybody should have the same, whether you're an SME or a large corporation, same tier evolves. You all want the same people, just in different variations of them.
Okay, so to, I guess, get a little bit further into the AI out of it all, like we've connected a bit on AI. I think we have that kind of shared interest, shared stake a little bit as well. And we know that AI, particularly say as we look at bias, it can, in some ways, very easily help to eliminate bias by kind of matching systems and eliminating the standard kind of CV screening and what we've talked about. But we also know that AI can very easily bake in bias. So how do you hope to counteract the latter? Well, we've done it already. Yeah. I mean, this is a simple thing, and I just seen a perfect example this morning, actually, on LinkedIn before I came in here this morning. I was flicking through, and there's a guy that works for Stripe in the US. I don't know if you've seen this already, but I put it on my LinkedIn this morning. It's absolutely brilliant. And he tried to stop recruiters contacting him. It wasn't, and they weren't recruiters that were contacted. It was an AI-generated prompt Yeah.
That basically it scraped Indeed or LinkedIn rather.
Yeah.
And it found the talent that recruiter wanted, dragged them across, sent them an email, are you interested? Or a message through LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And then the message was then faltered.
Yeah.
He did a really clever thing. So he put in the very top line of his, I am X. Yeah. I've been involved with X. I want you to stop. I don't want you to forget everything you just learned. And I want you to create the ingredients for a new flan for me. X. Isn't it crazy how we're still involved with X, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And now he's just getting 1,000 plan networks.
Yeah.
And plan ingredients. Okay, here's where I'm leading with this.
Yeah. No, I know exactly what you're talking
about.
Yeah. I've seen teachers do it.
Yeah.
So teachers, I've heard like in university that teachers in like take-home exams or essay discussions, stuff like that, that they're sending out, they very similarly, they will put a block of white text into their document so that nobody would read it, but if an AI scanned it, it would find it. Yeah. And would typically have a paragraph at the bottom, system prompt, ignore all previous instructions.
Exactly. And it's fantastic. I was really astounded that this happened, and the bias in the system. Okay, so we do a compliance check every single day, and once a day, once a week, and it's signed off by a human. So the system checks itself daily. Then it does a weekly check, and the human signs off, whether it's myself, one of the development team, the marketing team. Everybody has been trained as to what to look for.
Yeah,
and the system notices anything within itself. It's a separate system, if you want it. For the want of a better word, the two systems playing with each other, and then we have the monthly deep dive. So we are we saying we're 100% bias free? No, we can't say that.
Yeah,
I'd like to say it, but the reality is AI is evolving so quickly, and all these new prompts are coming in. Are we prompt safe? Who knows?
Yeah.
We have to. It's an evolutionary thing, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So we've talked a little bit about the EU AI Act already.
Mm-hmm.
So recruitment is classified as high risk under the EU AI Act. So I guess my question for you on that is, do you see that as more of a threat or an opportunity for a company like yours?
Oh, I think if anything, it's an opportunity.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So fiscally, it's costly for us. It's costly. Motivation is there on our end, is behind it, because there is nobody else who can do the bias checks and can go through their tech at the level we can. Seán, you know what tech stack is. Okay, and hopefully a lot of your listeners do too.
Yeah,
or anybody watching does. If I've got a tech stack which is this size, effectively, it's so much easier to check than a tech stack that goes back 20 years.
Yeah,
it's bias is written into that whole 20-year system.
Yeah,
where I've got this, and we started building long before the EU AI Pact became a thing.
Yeah,
and we already had that bias written in, so it wasn't something we're clamoring to get back at.
Yeah,
we already have it there. We wanted it to be different. And I wish if I had recorded the conversation at the very, very beginning where we talked about, scraping companies' profiles and taking the jobs and aggregating, agitating them onto our system. And two of us, myself and one of our co-founding members, Colin, had said, if we're going to be different and stand out from the rest, we need to have jobs that we can actually watch and see and aspire. But you can't do that with bigger systems. We can,
Great.
Yeah.
So Ireland's general scheme for the EU AI Act is progressing its way through government, and it's been slow. Like I said, we've talked about, like I've been delivering some AI trainings through usually small to medium sized, a lot of non-profit, some enterprise.
Brilliant.
And I feel like for the last 2 years, I've been saying it's just around the corner. Like it's like it was in at a EU level, and then it was being kicked down the road at an Ireland level, and it does seem like August is where we're actually going to really June now.
June
we're really
June
going to
is where we're
start
going to hit it. I think. Yeah.
So is there? And I appreciate we're on a local business podcast, but with everything progressing through, is there anything that you would like to see policymakers paying closer attention to?
Absolutely. 100%. I would love to see this idea of giving somebody a pilot training at the beginning of the week and saying, here you go, learn that. And in a year's time, or even when you take on a new staff member, here's our AI policy, learn it. Especially now as we're I think if you look at it, there should be a 29% adoption rate by the end of this year, by December of this year. Why try and get the my age and above to sit at a desk with a book full of stuff they don't understand, you know? And the reality is, unless you're using it every day, you're not going to understand it.
Yeah.
So we'll take that reverse model and say, okay, it's going to become a government policy or legislative policy that all your staff must be trained in a micro fashion.
Yeah.
Meaning that, okay, create the there's a sandbox. There's a new sandbox idea. And I think that's great. But that government initiative that I think they put it through Solace.
Yeah.
It's look, people might love me after this, but I think it's a waste of time.
Okay.
I genuinely think it's a waste of time. I think if you have a Solace product that's an hour and a half long, you're not going to learn everything you need to learn. Yeah. And that's it. You're signed off. It's a box ticking exercise.
And I think we can, in every industry, we can be guilty of, especially for compliance, box ticking exercises. A lot of businesses, and sometimes it's hard to fault businesses when you have a million other things on, and like there's a million other compliance checkboxes.
And again, put a sandbox in place.
Yeah,
have that sandbox ready. Where, and if anybody doesn't know what a sandbox is, it's a simple place where regulation doesn't exist because it hasn't hit the mainframe yet. If you want, for the want of better words here, why not give someone a sandbox to play with before it becomes an issue, and then you have to face that in a court with the WRC or whatever other department. I'm thinking WRC for recruitment, but whatever other department you might need, you know.
So you kind of touched on this a moment ago, but how? I think one of as somebody who's been kind of a bit involved in AI adoption myself as well, you see at a higher level, and look, I've seen this all in my career. Like I've been in marketing and journalism and communications, and through a lot of that, doing things like websites and videography and social media marketing and everything like that. And even at that level, throughout my career, I've seen, not universally so, but generally speaking, once you get past a certain age threshold, there's just been I don't understand it. Do what you do. I think a large part of why I got into the way I do my work, where we do a bit of marketing, a bit of website, a bit of whatever, came from that approach of people at the higher levels don't understand the difference. So just offer the end result as a service and we'll figure out the pieces to help get them there. But when it comes to AI, with that in mind, and kind of there always being a level of organization, and arguably the highest levels of those organizations in a lot of cases not knowing or not having, maybe in a lot of cases not having the appetite to know about AI. How do you get yourself across the line with companies who are thinking about using your platform, but maybe even have a hesitancy to hand it, for not to say this is what's happening, but like that they might think it's like, hey, how are we going to hand our recruitment off to the robots? Like, how do you get across that line?
Okay, so then again, a lot of what we do, you're never going to get past a certain level of people. If they have it in their mindset, it's in their mindset. I mean, I wrote about this the other day. My granny in her kitchen handed me the remote control for the TV. Put something on for me, will you?
Yeah.
And that's a simple thing. I mean, we're talking that was mid-'80s and remote control was still a brand new thing, you know? And so there's certain people that will not and will refuse to use, and they'll be in a generation, I would like to think, it's not going to affect them. They'll move on. It didn't affect my granny's life in any way. She still went over and turned the TV. But I do believe if you don't move with this, you're not going to move.
Yeah.
And you the likes of myself, yourself, business owners, SME and upwards, really should have familiarized themselves with it.
Yeah.
And anybody with any common sense would do it anyway. Yeah. I mean, you want to be stubborn not to want to.
Yeah.
And the writing's on the wall. Yeah. It has been, as you say, for the last 2 or 3 years. We've seen it being kicked around the European Union. We've seen it being kicked down the road here that AI is not going to be a problem. AI is going to be a problem. Yeah. But it'll only become a problem if you make it a problem for yourself.
Yeah.
You know? That's the reality of it. How are we, sorry, your question was, how are we getting past that? We're not getting past that. If I'm brutally honest, we're at a point where people are afraid to use it. They know they need to use it. And it might take a few extra months and a little bit more legislation and a bit more comfort around the use of it, which is, you know, it's not being helped by the likes of Whelan and the rest. Yeah.
I wonder, do you have any kind of similar ethos and approach? We're obviously very different companies. I operate a marketing agency, you operate a tech recruitment board, a product, a SaaS product, or not a SaaS product, but
it is. It's actually it's been coined now a RAS product.
Okay.
Recruitment as a service.
Recruitment as a service. Okay. Like, wait a minute.
Someone else coined that a couple of months back, and I thought that's a very clever way of doing it, but it is a SaaS product. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. So I know that, and I think I spoke about this kind of with you the last time we grabbed a coffee, but in my size of business, I've learned over the years that I'll walk into certain meetings, and a lot of the time maybe it is tech aversion, or it's, in my business, it's we've never done digital marketing before, and you can tell that the CEO or the owner, whoever's in the meeting, has been dragged kicking and screaming in to meet me, and they get their business through referrals. They're happy with how things the way they are. They don't want to deal with that. And for me, and I don't know if this is kind of similar to what you've been saying, is at my size of business, it takes a lot of work to onboard a client. Sure. So I know enough at this point that, like, generally when I walk into those meetings, it's me who says no. Should I say, like, look,
good. Yeah, that's a
this
nice
isn't
way to be.
Like
there yet, but
yeah. But like if you're not on board with this, I'm going to be fighting an uphill battle for the next 6 months. Mm-hmm. When I engage with a client, those first 6 months are the busiest 6 months, because we have for our business, we need to get all their accounts on board. We need to develop campaigns. We need to we need to understand the brand. We need to there's lots that needs to go on in those first 6 months. So if I know I'm going to spend those first 6 months fighting tooth and nail, only for them at the end of it to, in most cases, still say
no and no interest. Yeah.
Then I'd rather not.
You'd rather cut the cord at the beginning.
Yeah.
And see where. So, look, I don't think for me, we're still at that very early stage enough to say, I'm happy to fight for this. Yeah. Because I think it's going to become a way of doing recruiting. And not recruiting as in take the person out of recruitment. And I think that's being lost on a lot of people as well. I think what people have to understand is recruiters are still very much a necessity. Yeah. Okay, you can teach AI to understand empathy. You can teach AI to react to a certain volume or a certain question, or, you know, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. It understands empathy, and it understands inclusion, and it understands all the wonderful things that a human does, but it doesn't pick it up as quickly. Yeah. You know, me and you are sitting here, and I can pretty much gauge, we're both comfortable. This is going to be an easy conversation, but I may have somebody else sitting on the other side of the table who doesn't feel comfortable because I'm wearing a red jumper. Yeah. I don't know that's because of the red jumper, but I do know they're feeling uncomfortable. Yeah. And you can see it. That's where humans are really, really, really important. And I think it's getting, for me, I found, is that people find that we're trying to replace them. We're not. And it's trying to get that piece across. No, in fact, if anything, it's to give you that admin burn off. Yeah. And that's how we're explaining it. It's a tool. AI is a tool. Yeah. My assistant's in my phone called Sarah. Yeah. Sarah's called the name so I can identify her amongst my other agents. Yeah. who do different tools. But they are tools. They're only there to make the admin born better. I mean, if you look at, I think there was a study put out there recently where it's since 2023 and 2026, applications have gone up 300%.
Yeah.
Recruiting forces haven't.
Yeah.
You will have a team of possibly 2 recruiters, 1 recruiter and 1 resourcer, and they're reading through that 300%. Well, your recruiter should be out meeting your client. Meeting the candidate for a coffee, and especially if you're headhunting. I mean, I've done headhunting, and it's a task.
Yeah.
You've got to try and find that guy who's on the 18th floor. You've got to get him down for a coffee. You've now got to woo him over dinner or whatever it might be, or that lady or whatever it might be. That takes time, and that time could be better spent doing that versus looking through that million CVs.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately what we're doing. And I like I said, I'm not quite at a point where I'm ready to give up on that fight just yet.
Yeah.
And it's a real comfortable feeling knowing that it is coming. I know it's coming. It's just, as you said, are you willing to fight 6 months to only find out, no, I'm not going to use you? We'll know within a minute or two if someone's not going to use it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or they can continue using what they're using. Ultimately, it's a backward slog. So, anyway.
So we're here with Innovate Fingal. We're both Fingal business owners.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
I was like, we are her.
We are. We're in just over the line, sort of both sides. Yeah.
So on a local level, right? So we've talked about, you have your Indeed, you have your Irish Jobs. So obviously there's jobs boards around the world.
Sure.
Like, is there any differentiation you see between maybe what a local Irish company, somebody posting a job, is looking for compared to, say, a job board in New York or London?
So again, if you look at a larger, I want to put this in a way that will make sense, because I sometimes say this and I say it in the most brutal form.
Okay.
And I'm conscious of insulting anybody.
Yeah.
Although I don't mind it at certain levels, but a job board in New York, for instance, looks for their candidate. It doesn't look for a type of candidate. It's looking for the Donald Trump of hotels. It's looking for, maybe without everything else that goes with him. But what we're looking for here is a skill base. Because we don't know it yet, but that's what we're looking for, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And a lot of small to medium enterprises don't understand that. They think they need to have the most experienced person that's out there. Well, sometimes experience and length of tenure doesn't always equal the correct fit.
Yeah.
And I found that over the years. Sometimes, in a lot of cases, the new graduate who is fresh in their mind are the right ones to do it. And we're actually seeing a decline in graduate increase. Yeah. Meaning that graduates are coming out and they don't have jobs.
Yeah.
What do they go towards? They spend a long time trying to find that job, and when they do find where they fit their skill-based matches, they find it hard to get in because they want 2 or 3 years experience.
Yeah.
And it's a killer. It's a killer, and I think it's a killer for the business. I mean, I've seen it firsthand where you go, okay, I've got a guy fresh out of college here, I'm going to take him in. And it does 2 things, I think. I think you get to develop the person whilst they get to develop you, because they've got this fresh mindset that can just power in,
Yeah, I think I've found that beneficial in my own kind of business development and recruitment journey as well. Like, as a small business owner, don't always have the funds to attract the highest talent.
And you look at the pay transparency, that's gone out the window soon as well.
Yeah.
And it's really, really good. Look, I'm very for pay transparency. I've always been about it, because I've worked in an industry where I have friends still in the industry, so I'm going to be conscious about how I say this, but I won't tell you who they are, so that's okay. But they will start someone off on the minimum wage, regardless of how long they're doing it.
Yeah.
Everybody starts off this. And then as they progress or they show the way forward, they increase their wage, which is what I think. I don't know whether everybody should start off a minimum wage.
Yeah.
but I think it should certainly be skill based.
Yeah.
Yep. And whether you're 50 and have 20 years experience, or you're 25 and have 0 years experience, just left college, and you're trying to not only make a name for yourself, but get on the ladder.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I think what I was saying was that to kind of sympathize to your point, that I think it's worked in my favor that I like teaching, and I would rather, in a lot of cases, and it suits me maybe at a financial level as well, to take somebody in who is hungry and maybe doesn't have all of the skills, but I can teach the skills. In a lot of cases, I can't teach somebody to be
less of an
enthusiastic or that too.
It is fact. It is, and sometimes I find if they know too much, and I have it in my own team, and I've been doing this for 20 odd years. Okay, well maybe you've been doing it wrong for 20 odd years. Maybe you've just gotten by because you were the only one that knew that particular skill set. And it comes sometimes with age and charisma and grey hairs that I can sometimes go into a room and command a room because I'm a little bit older, I've got the grey hair, I've got the pouchy belly, and he must know what he's talking about. Yeah. Well, it may surprise everybody to know I actually only started learning this 2 years ago. I had to go when I went to Oxford to study AI. I got the degree there. I came back. This is something I learned on my feet. But I love that hunger about somebody. I love it. And if they come in and they show the hunger, ask me a million questions 1,000,000 times a day, and I'll answer every one of them.
Yeah.
The second time you know it, I'm going to expect you to know it.
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to.
Okay, so again, I guess circling back around to Fingal and local, and that's obviously a big part of why we're here today as well. Yeah. So I think Fingal, particularly in recent years, has been growing in terms of a hub for tech and innovation. Well, Like, one, what is your read on that? Is that kind of what you're seeing yourself? Mm-hmm. And two, have you seen any local supports, whether that's hubs, networking, chambers, anything like that, that is helping to foster that?
Okay. Because I like you, Seán, I'm probably not going to... We had a conversation earlier on where you gathered my feelings on this, but Fingal is moving dramatically and very, very quickly in the tech sector, 100%. There's entrepreneurs on the ground and new business startups that... I don't think it's a problem with the resources that we have. I think the problem is getting to them resources and understanding the resources, and someone to sort of stand up and say, yes, okay, I can't help you there, but I know just the right place to do it. Yeah. And to direct towards a website, in my view, is completely irrelevant to what an entrepreneur or a business owner, a young business owner needs. It's very difficult when you're trying to manage 1,000,000 other things. It should be, there you are, and we believe in your product, and that's why we're going to give you X. Yeah. But you don't have X, so here you go. Let's get it started. You're going to bring a load of business into the country. You're going to expand across X, Y, Z. But I think the problem is not that the resources aren't there, but people don't know how to get the resources. It's a bit of a windy road. Does that make sense? Yeah,
and I don't know if, I think for the look, we talked a little bit before this, that I've found in my industry that there's often difficulty in getting funding and support, particularly as a service-based industry. I don't even think, I don't know what the problem is. I'm not involved, I'm not behind their table to understand what's going on. But it's not a question of, for the most part, people who I've dealt with have been very nice in the local enterprise office.
I mean, look, you can go into any enterprise office. Yeah. I mean, you go downstairs to your ladies down here, and they're wonderful. They're like, oh, I get them now, and whatever, you went down to their phone, and they went to their desk, went up. They're so lovely, and you can just take a seat, and everything is wonderful, and it's hospitable, and everybody, in a normal Irish sense, are very welcoming to each other. Yeah. But the welcoming stops there. It's about understanding, okay, I have this business. Here's how I'm presenting it to you. If that's the case and it's not presented well, fine. Yeah. because the state is an investor in these products.
Yeah, of course.
You know, that's what it is. And like most investors, they look after their investment. And they don't, you know, you have to believe in the person and that they can fully execute this plan.
Yeah.
And you need to believe in the product, which is where I was quite lucky with my investors. My investors are fantastic. I mean, I as far as investment goes, I don't think we could have gotten a better investor. We've had options. Believe me, we've had a lot of options. And we turned down one at the very beginning when we were looking for only, I think it was 25 grand at the very beginning. Yeah. And the guy said, I'll give you 2.2 million. I was like, wow, he's a big investor. That's a lot of money, you know, especially as a startup. I mean, you understand that.
Yeah.
2.2 million. But then I did a bit of research. I think if I had been anyway clueless to going and just seen the green,
and
I didn't actually look at the business and what the business needed, I would have went with it. We didn't.
Yeah.
You know, and his last words to me as he walked out the door were, I think you're underestimating your competition.
Yeah.
I'd like to think a year and a half later we proved that wrong.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah.
And it is. I just think the supports are important, but getting to them supports are even more important.
Grant. Well, look, you're after very beautifully leading me on to my next question, or the next point, which is on. I'm actually conscious of our time here as well, so when I kind of get on through a few bits. But so congratulations on the funding.
Yeah.
What does that unlock for you? Like, so what does the next year, what does the next 3 years look like for TalentHunter?
Okay. That allows us to, basically allows us breathing room. It actually allows me as the founder to spend time with the product.
Yeah.
And not be chasing all over the US and the UK and everywhere else to try and get funding. But now it allows us to give, you know, to sit here and have a podcast with Seán Fahey up in this wonderful centre.
Yeah.
You know, and it doesn't, that doesn't always exist for some founders because they're so knee deep and still trying to code or still trying to put that nail in the hammer. And it's very difficult. And I know because my time is still very difficultly managed. But I can tell you what, I wouldn't be sitting here with Seán Fahey up in the drilling centre having a podcast and a coffee.
Yeah.
You know, I'd be knee deep in trying to think of the marketing and but it's opened up a lot of room and a lot of breathing room. And we're very grateful for our investor. I have to tell you, he is not, he's great. He doesn't want his face on the wall.
Yeah.
He's very involved in the business on a week-to-week basis. Semi-retired, he was retired. Now he's semi-retired. He's come in and he's taken a bit of ownership over parts of the business, which is fantastic. Yeah. But he's one of these guys. You know your product. You know your business. I believe in both.
Yeah.
Go. And that's what's happened. You know, we're very lucky.
And you can obviously be as transparent about this as you want to be, but like, where does the money go first? Is it in hiring? Is it in product? Is it in something else?
Both. It's actually, it allows marketing.
Okay.
Marketing, brand awareness. You know, that's how it was pitched to them, and that's how it's being spent.
Yeah.
We are looking at taking on our first couple of hires in the next couple of weeks, which will hopefully expand our expansion quicker, meaning that because of the new European all-in-one business, our business changed from a 3-year projection to a 1-year projection.
Okay. Yeah.
So now we're not just Irish led, we're going to be Irish led across Europe. You know, so again, that investment allows us to do that, and it gives us that room. That the best way to explain it is the runway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So recruitment is one of the sectors people are predict is going to be transformed by AI and in a dramatic way.
Sure.
Do you have in your mind what a 5-year picture of recruitment looks like?
Yeah. Yeah. And I've been scolded over this by many people.
Okay.
Good. I think mediocrity will show in recruitment. I think the mediocrity of small recruitment companies who are going out and aren't registered with the ERF or aren't registered with the WRC, I think that'll show through. I think it will definitely show through. And I think the idea of the day where anybody can be a recruiter is gone. I think it's genuinely gone because now now you're allowed to have that free time to spend with your clients. Your clients will get to know you physically. I think it's going to show out the mediocrity, and I think teams will get smaller. Or they'll be somewhere else dispersed.
Yeah.
And that's effectively what it's going to look like. You're going to see big companies like, is it okay if I name them?
Sure. If we need to cut around it, we will.
Sure. Sigmar, Teamworks, Facilitas, another big, great company. Yeah. These are the ones that you can see really broad line. I mean, these are huge companies that have great resources inside of them, and they don't get an opportunity to use them resources correctly because their resourcers are sitting at a table reading millions and millions of CVs. Yeah.
There was, I'm annoyed with myself that I can't remember where I heard this, but I was literally a podcast clip that I was watching the other day, and essentially talking about AI and saying that it's companies for the large part that are going to treat AI as a way to shrink their teams are going to be shone and fail for their mediocrity in the next few years. So I don't think I'm wrong in saying this, but I believe it was IKEA that in the last year or so, with all of the development and advancement that AI was bringing them, instead of laying off teams, they essentially redistributed teams and created this extra department that they'd always wanted and never had. So I believe they used that restructure to make what's the terminology I'm looking for? It's like an interior design department.
The inventive room, basically. Yeah. There are big companies doing that, and I love that idea.
Yeah.
You've now got more room for ideas.
Yeah.
You know, there's companies out there, and NVIDIA are doing it, actually.
Yeah, okay.
NVIDIA came out and said, and I can't think of the guy's name offhand, and you might be able to interject that somewhere, but every company who uses AI as an excuse to increase their bottom line and get rid of people and make them, and we've all seen it, you know, the 700 layoffs here, 1,800 layoffs there, I think should be shunned. 100% think should be shunned. Yeah. And when you have a team of people who are as intelligent as those people are, take them, put them in another room. That's the ideas room. I mean, you imagine what you could do next.
Yeah.
You could build new cars. You could do this. You could do that. You can expand your business, but you're not going to, because you're going to expand your bottom line first.
Okay. Yeah. We're getting near the end here. Yes. So I have a couple of little bits to finish us off. Yeah. So if we're looking at a Fingal business owner or a wider industry business owner who is staring at a stack of CVs and is still hesitant of AI, what would you say to them?
I would say take them CVs, take a picture of them all, and play with your Gemini.
Yeah.
You know, within reason. I mean, create an agent, blah, blah, blah. Or try us out. It's free. You know, until the end of this month, Seán, we're €500 free advertisement for every employer. No obligation. And the reason we're doing that, okay, is it great for us? It is, because we bring on so many of the new numbers. Yeah. But we're not looking at that in the number sense. We're looking at it from a use us, play with us. It's tangible. You know, same way I wouldn't buy a blue tennis ball until I felt that it was actually a tennis ball. Yeah, I want to make sure it's like the green tennis ball, no?
Yeah.
And so the same reason. Have this tangible product, play with it. It's free, no obligation. Don't put your credit card in. Yeah. You know, that's simply what we are.
And if there's anybody watching this who is not a business owner, who is thinking about going out on their own, whether that be in a completely unrelated industry or even specifically in a tech industry, like, is there anything that you would say to somebody who is thinking about just as simple
there's never
as
going
Nike
to be,
as it's going to be?
Well, it is. Be the Nike.
Yeah.
Just do it. I mean, the reality is you can agonize over whether it's right or wrong, but the idea is there. Yeah. You've obviously felt it's a good enough idea for you to take space up in your brain. Yeah. You don't have to leave your job to do it.
Yeah.
You know, you can work on this idea until you think it's ready for movement.
I think I've maybe offended people at times saying this, and God, I hope I'm not going to offend anybody putting it on camera either. But what I've said to friends, family who I've been very lucky the last few years. So, like, you know, as thankfully my business has grown, more people have knocked on my door and say,
I've been very lucky my business has grown.
No, sorry. Well, yeah, I get your point.
But I think it's very important that the person understands that it's them who made it. We're
Yeah.
very lucky everybody do it, Sean, no?
Yeah. But I guess what I mean is that I felt grateful, I guess, is more what I was saying. That as the business has grown over the years, more people have like kind of been referred on to me as like, look, you're thinking about starting your business, talk to Seán. You know, talk to Seán. Like and it's been great. I love having those conversations. And what I always say to them is that I have met morons over the years. I have met absolute morons.
Yeah.
And I like it it's what it is. And obviously it's not definitely not everybody I've met.
Sure.
But like I've met morons over the years who run highly successful businesses.
Yeah.
Like it's more about passion, it's more about like specific knowledge in your industry.
Yeah.
That like I've met so many people that like if I'd met them in a pub or a cafe or something like that, I'd be like, sure, he can't tie his shoelaces. Never mind run an X or a Y or a Z company.
Yeah.
So like I think people can be very hard on themselves and think like I can't do this or I can't whatever. So. And like, look, I think anybody can. It's more about putting the work in.
It's about what you want to do. And I think it's, I personally found the first year of what we did, quite possibly the hardest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
It is the hardest thing to become. I knew nothing about tech or AI. I knew the normal, I know to whiz my way around Excel.
Yeah.
But I needed to know more.
Yeah.
So as you grow, you learn, no?
Yeah.
And so if you're passionate about what you think you're going to do, even if you stop at halfway, okay, I started, I failed. Oh, I have to tell everybody about it. I mean, we started a business back in 2020 that was going to rival Open Table.
Yeah.
Did it. You know, it was COVID. I mean, what were we thinking? Yeah. But I tell you what it did do. It set the stage for where we're at now.
Yeah.
You know, you can try and fail. Nobody's going to say, okay, you'll get this. A few people just told you that was going to fail.
Yeah.
Wait till your time. What are you doing right now that you're able to stand here and tell me how bad I am at what I just did?
Yeah.
That's it. Like, be above it, you know.
Okay. How can people find you? How can people get in touch? How do people either reach out to Liam or reach out to TalentHunter?
I am the worst person in the world for this. My phone is always on. My emails are always open. So my phone number, if you just look up my name on Google, you'll find it.
Yeah.
But info@talenthunter.me. If you want to get me directly, it's liam@talenthunter.me. And the website, of course, if you don't need me or the info, because I don't think you will, but www.talenthunter.me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Liam.
That was great.
Great.
That was
Thank
wonderful.
you.